The Krell Empire had conquered 47 star systems in less than a decade. Their warships, sleek and terrible, had reduced entire civilizations to ash and memory. They were unstoppable, methodical, and utterly without mercy. There was only one rule that every species in the galaxy followed. Do not enter human space. Commander Zarthok stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship Domination, his chitinous armor gleaming under the harsh lights. He reviewed the intelligence reports with growing irritation. Humanity occupied a modest 14 systems on the galactic rim, resource-rich worlds that the Empire desperately needed. The humans are weak, Zarthok clicked to his officers. They have no energy shields. Their weapons are primitive projectiles, and their ships are laughably slow. This warning they broadcast is nothing but a bluff. His second-in-command shifted nervously. Commander, the Galactic Council was very specific. They said, I know what they said. Zarthok snapped. Superstitious fools. The Council fears human unpredictability. I fear nothing. The fleet of 200 warships crossed into human territory. Susan Matthews was 32 years old, a xenobiology researcher stationed on Terra Nova Colony. She was analyzing soil samples when the alarms began screaming. Her hands froze over the microscope. This is not a drill, the AI announced. Hostile fleet detected. All civilians proceed to emergency shelters immediately. Susan's heart hammered as she ran through the corridors. Around her, colonists moved with practiced efficiency, too practiced. She'd always wondered why every human colony ran invasion drills monthly. Now she understood. In the shelter, she found herself pressed against hundreds of others. A young man with kind eyes and a Defense Corps uniform moved through the crowd, checking seals and distributing emergency kits. Evan, his name tag read. He noticed her shaking hands. First time in a real shelter? Susan nodded, unable to speak. Evan gave her a sad smile. Don't worry. They always learn. Learn what? Why the rule exists. The Krell fleet opened fire on Terra Nova's orbital platforms. The human defenses were exactly as primitive as intelligence suggested: kinetic railguns and missile batteries. Zarthok watched as his shields absorbed the attacks effortlessly. Pathetic, he muttered. Begin planetary bombardment. That's when the first anomaly occurred. The human ships, those slow, unshielded vessels, didn't retreat. Instead, they accelerated directly toward his fleet. Their crews broadcasting on all frequencies. For Earth. For humanity. No mercy. Zarthok laughed. They're committing suicide. How? The lead human ship detonated. But it wasn't a normal explosion. The ship had been filled with antimatter enough to vaporize everything within 1,000 kilometers. 12 Krell warships vanished in an instant. Before Zarthok could process this, 3 more human ships did the same thing, each one piloted directly into clusters of his fleet. What kind of species uses their own people as weapons? His tactical officer shrieked. Zarthok's confidence wavered. Pull back to defensive formation. In the shelter, Susan heard the muffled detonations above. Each one shook the walls. Each one meant human crews had chosen to die. They're buying us time, Evan explained quietly. Every ship that sacrifices itself takes down dozens of theirs. It's the math of survival. That's insane, Susan whispered. That's humanity, Evan replied. We don't have fancy shields or energy weapons. But we have something they don't. What? We know how to hate. The Krell fleet regrouped, but humanity's response had only begun. From the asteroid belts, thousands of small objects emerged, not ships, but rocks. Each accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. The humans had been mining and militarizing their entire system for generations. The relativistic projectiles couldn't be stopped. They punched through Krell shields like they were paper. Each impact releasing energy equivalent to nuclear weapons. 40 more warships died in minutes. Then the human ground forces emerged from the colonies. Zarthok watched in horror as humans, civilians, soldiers, even children, fought with a ferocity he'd never witnessed. They didn't surrender when wounded. They didn't retreat when outnumbered. They fought with knives when their guns ran empty, with rocks when their knives broke, with bare hands when they had nothing left. A transmission came through, audio only, from the planet's surface. It was a woman's voice, calm and cold. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the Terra Nova Defense Corps. You were warned. Now you'll learn what every species learns. Humans don't fight wars to win. We fight wars to end them. We'll destroy our own worlds before we let you take them." The transmission ended with the sound of a massive detonation. Terra Nova's main reactor had been detonated deliberately, creating an electromagnetic pulse that disabled every Krell ground unit on the planet. Evan held Susan as the shelter shook from the pulse. "It's almost over," he said. "How do you know?" "Because they're learning." Commander Zarthok fled with what remained of his fleet, less than 60 ships from the original 200. His hands trembled as he composed the emergency transmission to Imperial Command. The humans hadn't won through superior technology. They'd won through something far more terrifying. Absolute, uncompromising will. They had turned their own bodies, ships, and planets into weapons. They had demonstrated that they would accept any cost, suffer any loss, endure any horror to defend their space. As his fleet limped away, Zarthok finally understood what the Galactic Council had tried to warn him about. Humans weren't feared because they were strong. They were feared because they were unreasonable. Every other species fought wars with logic, with measured responses, with surrender as an option. Humans fought wars like cornered animals with nothing to lose and everything to prove. The galaxy had one rule for a reason. Zarthok had broken it, and the Empire would never be the same.